Good evening and welcome to Community Issues, a Tapestry of Concerns. We're delighted to have you this evening for a very special reason. You know me. I'm your host, Alyce Smith Cooper. But these young people you may not yet have had the chance to meet. But trust me, once you meet them, you're going to want to watch their trajectory. And when I say trajectory, I mean just that, because these young people are headed straight for the stars, because they know exactly how to build community. I'm Alyce Smith Cooper, and I truly want to welcome you, and I want to welcome the members of the Somali Youth League of San Diego. And I'm going to let them tell you their names because each name is beautiful, and I want you to hear it said in the way that they would like to have it said. So I will introduce first to my right the chairman of the Somali Youth League of San Diego, and please tell them your complete name.
My name is Abdulmalik Bull, chairman of SOL.
I call him Malik.
And King. My name is Abdel Nasser Bodo, and sponsor, and I do public relations with Somali Youth League.
My name is Ayan Mohammed. I'm the historian of SYL.
I call her Ayan, and he said his name so quickly that you might not have gotten it, so say it again, please.
Nasir or Abdel Nasser?
Nasir.
Yeah.
We'll call him Nasir.
Okay.
So these are core members of the Somali Youth League of San Diego. And first of all, please tell the people in the audience that don't know, and there's many who don't, how you got the name Somali Youth League and why.
Well, initially, the Somali Youth League of San Diego, when we were having these discussions of what name to choose, we thought of some group that can sort of symbolize what we're trying to do. And the original SYL, or the Somali Youth League, were 13 young individuals, young men and women in Somalia in the late 50s who fought off the colonists intellectually and brought about us a country called Somalia. They found a way to defeat the Italian and British empires during the colonist period in Africa and brought us a country. And there were young individuals at that time who were thinking about bringing a country. So the challenge to us was, if 13 individuals can bring about a country, can 60 of us bring about a community?
So, San Diego Somali Youth League,
Yeah.
fabulous foundation.
And in our country, I mean, in the San Diego community, it emulated the same. And most of us kind of knew each other from childhood. But now, as growing up, coming from 5 years old to 25 years old, now we're in the workforce. Most of us is recently graduated with different fields. I knew Abdul Malik. We met each other working together in the county of San Diego.
And your field is?
Social services.
Social services,
Yeah.
and you were working in
Social services.
social services as well. Okay.
Yeah. And it was majority, a lot of us that had a similar background. Someone was working at Scripps, Sharp Hospital. So we had all these young kids that grew up together, all of a sudden with different fields that graduated and are doing well off. So we wanted to emulate the actual Somali Youth League, young professionals coming together, and wanted to do something for our community.
And you had made really good inroads in that your families immigrated here, say about 20 years ago. You all came when you were about 5 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And so you've been growing up in the education system here. You have taken advantage of the things that were offered. You yourselves have graduated from college. You are in college currently and in the workforce. And now you're ready to give something back.
Yeah. And it's more about giving back. It's really being productive members of society. We could be just an engineer that works a 9 to 5 and just comes home. We want it to be more than that. We want it to be active agents of change. And for us specifically, being Somali, we still had attachment to our homeland. And we were witnessing the famine and the images of these children malnourished and their bellies extended beyond belief and their ribs poking out of their bodies. So we thought to ourselves, we have to do more than just be clocking into 9 to 5. So Nasser and some of my coworkers used to have these discussions, heated debates of how we can help back home.
Heated debates.
Yeah.
So when did these debates happen?
Lunchtime,
Where were you?
Break time, 15-minute break time. We'd be upstairs, me, him, a couple of other members by the name of Abdi Karim and Abdi Fattah and Nemo and Ifra. We was like a lot of us that was in the same building. So that's where most of the think tank came
So
from.
you actually had
Yeah, we had
a
like-
break time think tank.
Break time think tank.
So you weren't just out having a cup of coffee.
Nah.
You were talking about the
Yeah.
things that were important to your heart. The old country, building community here, and helping people on the continent.
Yeah, and it wasn't just probably us. And the thing is, what we found out is once we actually got the inception of Somali Youth League going on, many other people within our same sphere had these discussions. The students at the universities had the same discussions. People that worked together had the same discussions. People that played ball together had the same discussions.
So people are concerned.
Yeah, people were concerned, and we're seeing these images come out.
Yeah.
And so what happened was through Facebook and social media, one of my friends said, "Hey, let's do something about the situation back home." So he.
So this was one of your friends from where?
From San Diego.
Oh, from San Diego. But you're on Facebook all over like everybody, all over everywhere.
all
Connected
over the
all over
world.
the world.
Yeah. And he inboxed me, and he also texted me, said, "Hey, I put up this note on Facebook. Can you take a look at it?" So simultaneously, Nasir and I and other individuals from the East African Cultural Community Center were planning this event with Napoleon, who used to be a rapper, with Tupac, and we were working with the youth in the inner city neighborhood in terms of gang violence. So from that event, we're discussing ways to help out back home.
Okay, so this is just not just in San Diego. You said Napoleon,
He came from Los Angeles.
Okay.
So he came from Los Angeles, and then people started hitting up on Twitter because he was showcasing his documentary in San Diego. And then he said, "Hey, there's a famine. Can we donate some of the proceeds from the event to the famine?" Then I took that information, told my friend on Facebook, "Hey, we have this event. You should come through." He brought his friends. I brought my coworker, my friends, and then social media sort of set up the first venue after that documentary film screening. 11:30 at night, I came downstairs and I kind of casually pronounced it, "Hey, there's going to be a meeting about the famine. If you guys want to get together, do something, just stick around at the end of it." At the end of the event, and 11:30 at night, 30 young Somali students are sitting there.
Yeah.
Bingo. Time to get something started. Time to get something going here.
Yeah.
It sounds like another time in history that when I was a young person about your age and things were happening in the country that we were seeing projected on the media that we wanted to do something about. And yeah, after all of the fun was happening and everybody that was only came to have fun left, then the real people stayed and plans began to be made to make change.
Yeah.
And so I am just so thrilled to hear that flame of the desire for change to happen has not gone out, and that you all are fanning it and are doing something about it. And the social media has a great part to play in this. You have, I want you to talk about first about what you did after that 11:30 p.m. meeting, and then I want you to talk about what's going on across the country after that. But please tell us what part did you play in that meeting?
Actually, there was a Facebook event page sent out that says, okay, this is going to be our first meeting for anybody who wants to actually come in and do something about the drought. Because a lot of people in the community wanted to do something. My friend actually was coming back from Minneapolis and said, hey, they're already fundraising out there. Why don't we do something here? Not knowing that they already started that, meeting of wanting to, collect people.
So the pond had, the pebble had been dropped in the pond, and here are all the ripples. Okay.
So she asked me, we should do something. She brought the idea of a banquet. And that's the idea that I brought to the first meeting. And I said, okay, this is another way of raising funds, and somebody else suggested a car wash. So there were people in the community who wanted to do something, just didn't know how to, and he presented the venue for that conversation.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So the spokes of the wheel were beginning to come together, and you kind of were the hub for facilitating. Is that what happened?
Yeah, well, I knew most of the parties involved in the movements that are happening. So when you called that meeting initially through social media, I met other people that were doing similar projects, but we spoke to the hall, and I was sort of the first facilitator of that meeting. So the second meeting that we had after that 11:31, which is the one that Ayan came through to, over 60 people showed up.
Wow.
And I was truly taken aback by the dedication of the people. This is, in the summer, people can be doing so many different things. People are on vacation, people just want to relax, but here they are after work, and they're dedicated and they're committed, and they want to help out. So then we took the venue of sort of collecting all these efforts and throwing them to the pot of SYL. So the car washes that was an idea that was brought by several individuals, the banquet that her friend and she discussed brought into the venue, and then other projects also implemented from there as well.
Before we go on to what you actually did as a result of that, let's talk just a little bit about SYL and how SYL came together at that point, because now it's more than just a group of similar-minded people in the community. Now there's a formation happening here. There's something else that has to happen structure-wise for this to continue on beyond this event. So talk a little bit about what happened and who you pulled together to make all of this happen.
Well, SYL went initially from just relief projects to development, and now we're looking at it's a movement. It's a movement that's headed towards nation building. It's a movement that's headed towards bringing about the youth all over the diaspora together to those of Somalia. To take us back a little bit, after the Civil War, there was a mass exodus of the Somali people from Somalia.
That's how your family came.
Yes, so most of us have emigrated because of the Civil War, so we became refugees all over the world. So there are as many Somalis outside of Somalia as there's in Somalia. So our plan moving forward, an initiative, is collecting all the youth that are ready to gear in terms of bringing about long-term sustainable development and solutions to their country, and partnering up with those on the ground who have the logistics, who have the knowledge of how to work things about. And we may have the education and the resources and the financial capacity to assist bridging these two to bring about a country. And Nasir can expand more on the nationwide formation.
But before you do that, I want to talk about a little bit about the infrastructure, because there's the 6, 6, and 1, the 13, but there was another group behind that. You want to talk a little bit about who is the substructure, how you gather in people, the wisdom of the community.
So the SYL, we have 60 people initially trying to make a decision. So, and I'm trying to facilitate between 60 people, so you have random opinions. So we had extended meetings that were, you know, supposed to be like 30 minutes to an hour that'd go for 4, 5, 6 hours. So part of you says, okay, wow, well, people are dedicated for 4, 5, 6 hours.
Yeah, that structure.
And another part of you says, hey, we gotta do something. 6 hours is too long. So we decided to actually create a structure, and that's actually where we created the name and bylaws. So Nasir suggested.
I was on the computer. I was just reading about the history of SYL. So they had the 13, but they had the whole country. But it was the 13 people that had the structure, that was dedicated. They were scholars, engineers. Some of them were from the police force, the commissioner, and it was just all these people together. So even personally coming to these meetings and having all these different opinions come together, it was kind of tough. So I had to actually say, we're going to use this system. Why don't we just give back and use the original system?
Okay. And the original system was?
It was 13 members. We had one co-chair and 13 bodies, basically.
Okay.
And we implemented, in terms of the SYL here in San Diego, we chose 6 boys, 6 girls, and then we had a chairman. And so we elected from the 60, 13 people that'll make decisions, such as, you know, which NGO to partner up with, such as, you know, where the money is going to be allocated, what resources we're going to go after, and how it's going to be implemented.
Okay, so NGOs, for those people that don't know, are
non-governmental organizations, such as, you know, UNICEF, such as Mercy USA. The one we partnered up with is the American Relief Agency for the Horn of Africa, ARAHA, which is based in Minneapolis, a very trusted organization.
Okay.
Which recently gave us an accountability and transparency. That's not what you often see.
Okay,
working
exactly.
with these big organizations.
With a young organization. Is that who was your fiscal agent when you were raising funds? Are they still your fiscal agent?
Yeah, currently there's a partnership between SYL and American Relief Agency for the Horn of Africa due to the transparency and the accountability that they have presented. In addition to that, you know, they've been reviewed by the Charity Review Board for being very honest, and they also allowed us to come with them in the trip to implement the aid.
Yeah.
So I think it's very important that whoever is watching this show understand that these young people had the savvy to know that if they were going to raise funds, they had to have a reputable fiscal agency. That was not just reputable in San Diego, but nationwide, and then eventually internationally, because they were taking funds that they have raised to buy food and take to Somalia. So this kind of organizational capability is very, very important to be understood. That you had that you're currently using that, and that's currently still in place for any donations that are made at this point.
Because even before we chose Araha, what we did was we invited different organizations. We did research between us. That first initial meeting, we came up with different ideas. We said, okay, we need ideas to raise awareness.
Okay.
So Facebook, using social media was implemented. Then
and that was your job, huh? The social media.
Yeah, public relations and going out to sponsors, bringing in people to help us and reach our budget. And
okay, so that was a very important position.
Yeah, I brought a couple
keys. The marketer. Okay.
And then funds was another one, to raise funds. So we wanted ideas to raise funds. That's when Ayan and the banquet dinner came in, which was magnificent. I mean, we had over 300 people come out. We had 48 volunteers. We had all the local networks of television come out on August 12th. It was all over the newspapers. It was all over the radio on NPR and KPBS. One of the most successful events ever witnessed in City Heights. Then we had the car washes as well. Now we have the wristbands, the Somalia Reviving the Horn wristbands.
Come get it, it's $5 each.
And then we launched the website as well, sylsandiego.com. Then we had the idea of choosing an NGO. Then we had our own requirements.
Yeah.
So we invited these NGOs, and then we had like about 30 people sit there and interview them and ask them questions, and they had to present to us what their NGO was, what they did, and then we made the solution.
So it's the concept.
You made them sell themselves to you.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's the concept of taking control.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because if you're gonna do all the work, and you're gonna go out and get sponsors and go get be marketers and do all this work, and you doing the field work, why give it to somebody that's not going to use it the right way?
You got to have
so
the
it's
right
taking
people.
Control. Yeah.
Exactly. The right. And when I say people, the right organizations in place. You all have operated in a very, very intelligent way. I want to move us along because I want the people to know how much you raised. How much did you raise in this 6 months period of time?
No,
we initially started in July and August, so that was the fundraising era or segment, and we raised about $30,000 within those 2 months.
In 2 months, you raised $30,000.
And then we implemented that. I took a trip with the relief agency to Somalia and Mogadishu, and it was one of the most.
That's one of the beautiful things.
One of the most memorable trips I've ever taken in my life. It was a life-changing trip for me.
So you actually raised this money, $30,000 in 2 months, and then you went to Somalia and Mogadishu, and you took the food to the people that were impacted by the famine. You took food.
That's what they was able to give us. That's what this NGO was able to give us, because some of the other organizations like the ARC, they have this huge bureaucracy. So sometimes they might tell you, "Oh, we're going to deliver the food on our own," and so that's the concept of taking control. Araha gave us this memo of understanding of, okay, we can bring one of you guys along to actually witness the whole process, the whole distribution
took the money.
process. Yeah.
They didn't dispense it in through their channels. You actually took the money. Did you buy the food yourselves?
I traveled with the NGOs. I traveled the executive director and one of the board members, and they were very, very, honest individuals. Great people, very dedicated. So
you also made a film. I saw part of the film.
We recorded. Yeah, we recorded. And the reason why we recorded was because we wanted to show the audience that we collected the money from how their money was implemented,
exactly,
who it went to, their response as well. And we're gonna have another.
I saw that. It's amazing. So you actually went with the directors of the NGO. You helped to dispense the food to the people. It didn't pass through other people's hands.
No.
You got it to the people that were in need of it, and you actually were right there, because the interview that I remember was with the little lady and her husband, who she just thought she had been forgotten.
Yeah.
And there you were giving her and her husband what they needed, because who knows if they would have lasted another day without that. I mean, that was was really clear in that film. You are back now, and what are you doing now to sustain this momentum, this incredible momentum that you have started?
Before we move forward, I want to take you back to just a couple of things that I noticed from the trip that'll help us answer that question.
Okay.
In that trip, I witnessed the extreme poverty that people were living in. I witnessed the crippling system that was predicated on the Somali people in terms of the system of dependency that was created there.
The post-colonial
The
system.
post-colonial system and the thought of, of not being able to do things for yourselves.
Okay.
One of the most inspirational moments I witnessed there was, I asked the woman, what would you like for the people that are going to witness this video, that are going to watch this video, what would you like for them to help you with? Most people would say, we want food, we want water, we want shelter. She said, hey, I want food, I want water, I want shelter, but I want a broom. All I know how to do is broom, and if you can give me a broom, I'll go make money for myself and I'll feed myself. That is called taking the initiative. She was my hero of that trip. So the people, they understood that they don't want to be spoon-fed anymore. And that is what SYL really stands for. It's empowering the people to feed themselves. We can go collect $30,000 and give them food and water. That'll last for a month or two. But you want to give them the tools necessary for them to, be sustainable. And not only the project that we implement, but also our organization.
Okay.
So we had to move from the framework of relief to development to long-term solutions.
Okay, we've got about 6 more minutes. I want you to be able to tell this audience what it is that you're wanting to do, how you're wanting to do it, and how we can help.
First and foremost, go to the website, sylsandiego.com.
Well, we can't really mention websites on public access television, but at the end you will see a telephone number. You can call that number and get all the information that you need.
Okay.
So, but that's all right. You didn't know that, so we'll erase that part.
Well, what we wanted to tell you guys is that we're here for the longevity, we're here for the duration, we're here for the process of bringing about rectification, reformation, not within our community as well, but becoming more than local agents of change, but global activists.
Global activists. Did you get that?
And we want to bring about solutions to bring about a country, hopefully. We want to bridge the youth that are here in the nation, in the diaspora, and connect them with the youth back home and bring about a country.
I am excited about what you're doing because it is so reminiscent of the conversations that we had in the 60s and in the 70s when I was your age and others were your age, and we were talking about nation building. And that zeal is still alive. We may be talking about Somalia, but we're still talking about San Diego.
Yeah.
You live in San Diego. And so therefore the energy that you put forth in San Diego will not only help Somalia or perhaps someplace else in the world, but it will certainly help San Diego. And I want you to be very clear about the fact that I see that in you. That's why you're on this show. And that's why I would like very much for you all to support the activities of these young people, because they are right here in San Diego. This brilliance lives here in San Diego. Wow. And so I expect that it's going to spill out into our neighborhoods. I know there's a particular neighborhood where a lot of the African immigrant families live, and that's in City Heights. But the more affluent you become, the more you will spread out into other communities, and therefore that same ability to coalesce people and to ignite that spirit of community, it has to continue. And that's what we were doing in the 60s. And so it may appear to have become dormant, but I want you to understand that it has not. And these young people are sitting here as living evidence of that. We've got about 2 or 3 more minutes. So what more do you what do you want to say in the last time? We have to talk about our support, and our support is that we have a webcast that's being done at this time, and this show is not the only show of this type on public access. My cohorts will appreciate the fact that my memory just isn't what it used to be, and I can't give all the names, but we are on this public access channel a lot. There are many shows. Walter Davis, Marilyn McLeod, Laura Thompson, all have television shows. and they're all talking about things in this community that are very important. And actually, you can tune in right now and watch because we're being simulcast on a webcast.
I have a person calling, typing questions from Oakland.
There's someone from Oakland who's typing a question.
It's to Abdul Malik, and it's Mahago, saying that they're very proud of you, the work in the community that you're doing, and it's nice to hear from you as well. So.
Wonderful.
Tell them thank you so much. Thank you so much.
That means a great deal to know that there are people out there listening, because social media does work, and it's very important that we keep our images that are positive out there on the airwaves, because you're never going to see a lot of this information come out on the 5 o'clock news, except when you do something spectacular like what you did, and you did do that.
We have a walk coming up too, January 15th at Balboa Park, hopefully.
Balboa Park.
So there are other fundraisers that are coming
Yeah.
up. There's going to be a walk that's coming up. There will be many other things, and I want you to keep your eyes and ears out and open for the Somali Youth League of San Diego. Thank you so very much for listening. I hope that you were as inspired by this group of young people as I am, because they are people to be watched. Trust me. I want to hear your name spoken the way you'd like to speak it again.
Ayan Mohammed.
Ayan Mohammed.
Abdel Nasser.
Abdel Nasser.
Abdul Malik Ali Bird.
They speak quickly, and I don't want to say it anything other than like they would, but Malik. Malik Ulu. I got that much. You will hear these young people's names. You will see their faces, because they are our future, and they are involved, and they're on top of what they're doing, and they are very well informed.
Thank you.
So please keep your eyes on the Somali Youth League of San Diego, and on the governmental agencies, the non-governmental agencies that support them. Many blessings to you all. Keep watching. Love you a bunch.